Thank you, Paul. Thank you for joining us. This is just going to be a little bit of an introduction and a review of how it was working with us, going through the projects, what we've done for you. Thank you so much for joining. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself, about your experience and your career? And then we can get into how we've worked together, the project that we've done.
Well, my name is Paul Iske. I'm the CFO, the Chief Failure Officer of the Institute of Brilliant Failures, which I established when I was still Head of Innovation of ABN AMRO Bank. Actually, I have set up the incubator of ABN AMRO to start new ventures under the wings of ABN AMRO. I did this after my time working for Shell and after my PhD in theoretical physics. As a Chief Failure Officer, I look at projects, I look at situations where people try interesting things, difficult things, complex things, new things, knowing that success is not guaranteed. And the idea of the Institute is, on the one hand, create an environment where people are still willing to try and to experiment and do things without knowing for sure that they will be successful. And if they are not successful, if it fails, then they accept it and they can learn from it. And that's, I think, is a very important aspect of innovation, is to gather as soon as possible the knowledge and learn from it and move on with this new knowledge at your disposal. Actually, I was, like I said, the head of innovation at ABN AMRO Bank. I run the incubator, and we have done many projects also in the area of new technologies. I was the first in the Netherlands organizing a Bitcoin conference. We have set up multiple websites, and this was so difficult using the traditional machinery and technology and supplies of ABN AMRO Bank that I established my own IT company that serves that incubator. And from that period, I have gained a lot of insights and experience in developing new projects, new websites, new platforms, new systems in a rapid way, in an agile way. That's also why I think that working with you guys, I can make a kind of comparison how that went in my own time when I was responsible for that IT company. And later I've been involved in many other developments and projects and companies where new technology and websites and systems and AI became important. So when we started our collaboration, I already had some expectations.
Nice. Awesome. Good to hear. So obviously, amazing background and amazing that we had this opportunity to work with you. And I hope that we lived up to your previous expectations.
Awesome, Paul. Thank you very much for the introduction. So we don't need to go too into depth with the project, but maybe if you could just tell us a bit about what your requirements were for the project, how exactly we delivered it, what was your experience along the way of delivering the project. Yeah, just your overall feeling of the way that the operation went.
Well, yeah, very briefly, the background of the project. I told you I am the head of the Institute of Brilliant Failures. We also collect examples, cases of failed projects and try to learn from them. For this, we have developed ourselves a website called BRIMIS. BRIMIS stands for Brilliant Mistakes, if you want. And there you will find now almost 300 failed projects. And what we do is we look at what was the intention of the project, what were the goals, how did they approach this, and what was the outcome, and what could they learn. And from the learnings, we make use of so-called failure patterns, because the reason that things fail are quite universal. If you look at different projects in different sectors, you always see one or more of what we call failure patterns that are responsible for failures, so that we can understand why it failed and also what we can learn from them and how we can apply that in the future. The point is that we always did this manually. So I was looking, or my team was looking at cases, reports, news, and then we wrote our story and we tried to imagine what failure patterns in this story. And one day I started thinking about the role of AI, and I was thinking, yeah, but what actually is the basis of AI? That is pattern recognition. Patterns in numbers, in pictures, in movies, in structures, in laws, in text, and so on. And then I thought, would it be possible that AI is looking at information about cases and would be able to identify what patterns playing a role in this story, so that I don't have to do that myself, and maybe this system can also look at much more content than I can do. I also met Drake and your company, and he told me that you run an AI company. And then my question was, what do you think? Would you be able to develop a tool that is able to listen to a question and a short description of a project, find relevant content, bring that together, and in that content recognize certain patterns and come up with those patterns that are relevant, including why these patterns are relevant in this question and in this case, and what can be learned from it. And you took that challenge, and I had an idea. Now, when we spoke together, and you said, okay, we can start doing this. And I was curious, and I had some trust. So why not? So we started having the conversation. What is what you want? I want to have an easy interface, good looking interface, where we can put in some initial content, the various agents that do the work, like finding the right content, bringing this content together, where we have some additional wishes or requirements. Something is nice to have, other things are of course must-haves. Different languages is an example. It would be nice if I work internationally, if the input and the output could be in various languages. So that was one requirement. The other information need to be found on the internet and maybe also in proprietary repositories. And so these are the things: approach, the goals, and the outcome, and the lessons learned. So that's also what I expected in this case, that we would have exactly the same format, so that I could directly use the output to, in the future, fill in this other tool or using it during presentations. So I also wanted to have a tool, a demo tool that I can use during my presentations to explain to people what I actually mean when I talk about these failure patterns. And that was the assignment that I gave, and we set a certain time frame for that. And this is what we are looking at the moment, and almost everything I had in my mind is now on my screen.
How much time would you say this tool has saved you and the team at BRIMIS from having to go through all of the documents and compiling everything?
In the original tool, it takes me about 2 hours, 3 hours to process the content that I received and then make this analysis and then put it into BRIMIS. It already becomes much longer, of course, if I also have to interview people, which I sometimes do, and maybe in the future I will still do. Now, the next level, of course, is if you would collect all that content that is relevant. As an example, recently in the Netherlands, we had a big chaos on our airport because of heavy snow, and many things went wrong. And I just entered in the tool, okay, look at the problems at Schiphol Airport in December 2000, what was it, January 2026. And this thing is looking at hundreds of websites, and you can also decide how many sources you will have, but it will collect all that material. If I would have to read all that material, just find it and read it and then make this analysis what failure patterns would be relevant, I think I talk about multiple days to do
Amazing.
one project, and now it takes about 5-6 minutes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for going through all of that, for giving us background on the project. And it's really great to hear that we've been able to help you save time, and looking forward to further collaboration with you on this project as well. The last burning question is, would you recommend us to other people, and would you recommend our services to companies that are looking to save some time and automate their processes?
Yes, well, now I want to say a couple of other things before I do so. During the process, we came up with an extra feature because you can look at projects that have been carried out, of things that happened, and see what patterns are relevant there. You could also think about things that you're planning to do. And that is what we call forward failing. That you start already thinking about, why could this fail and how can I prevent it from happening, or when it happens, how can I reduce the negative impact. As soon as we discussed it, and that's what I very much like about working with you guys, I think one of the very strong points in our collaboration, I have the idea that you almost immediately understand what I want, and and also this concept of forward failing. I think it was new to you, but it was easily picked up and it was implemented in a very short time frame. If you ask me about what is my general opinion about the collaboration with you, there are a couple of things that I think extremely strong. I have the idea that you are great developers. You know what you do. You know the way of how to set up this an AI system like this. I have the feeling you have really also understanding of all the various tools and the meaning of these tools. So that's very nice. But I think most importantly, you're great communicators. I've worked with many organizations, and I've seen seldomly people so responsive to any message that I send. Immediately also confirming. Okay, this is what you say, and this is what we think it is, and this is what we think we need to do. Then you make sometimes promises that I think, okay, would be interesting. And I must say, thus far, and it might change in the future, but thus far you have delivered everything you promised in the time frame you promised. And I think this is special. This is really special. I'm absolutely a fan of you, and you're nice guys. But most importantly, your communication and your performance, you deliver what you promise. That is extraordinary. And so I want to make you a big compliment anyway. But I also, if this is also meant to inspire other people to investigate whether it is worthwhile to work with you, I can with 100% conviction say yes. This is absolutely, at least from my point of view, one of the best experiences I have had, but with system development and AI and this type of projects.
Thank you very
Amazing.
much.
That makes us very, very happy to hear, and thank you so much. It's been also great to work with you as a client in terms of all the experience that you bring to the table. I know Drake has been the one that's been more involved in the project, but we obviously communicate, and I mean, Drake, you can also speak on that as well. It's been great experience for us working with you and building a new tool that was something completely different to what we've done usually. And so it's been amazing that we've been able to deliver on that as well, and in the time frame that's satisfied you and that we promised.
As you said, it's rare to find a company to work with that does what they say they're going to do. But for us, it works the other way around too. That's not always the easiest job, finding a client who's very responsive, who understands the requirements, and that sometimes with AI, you need to be a bit more patient with the implementation of it. And yeah, I just want to say that all those feelings you shared, we share them as well. This partnership has been very good so far, and I think there's a lot more to come. So it's very exciting times ahead, I think.
I look forward to that, and every time we come up with a new idea, and that's also your flexibility. The project is richer than when we start working on it. Now, then we have a new idea, and every time I try the system again, I see what they have done now, and every time it's growing, it's becoming better, and also when I show to other people, the enthusiasm is also growing because people very much value the richness of what we have done, all the features, and which all of them are relevant at the end of the day. I say you have nice to have and must haves, but the nice to haves at the end of the day, we would not want to get rid of them anymore.
Awesome.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much. I think that's good.